Hello friends! Thanks for joining me for a process video on my first Color Cast Designs layout. I was taking my cue from the mirrored rose gold elements that were in the release for January 25th, and I wanted to do something special to commemorate joining the Color Cast team. So that is why I am scrapping the team photo. I had two ideas to use these acrylics. One was the hearts came in a package and they were kind of staggered up big to small. So I wanted to sort of mimic that look, and also I had this idea about possibly creating a big title with the awesome. That's why you see me picking through some of my favorite letter stickers here. One is a really old, I don't know, I think it's basic gray, that I spelled freakin' with. The So is a Bella Boulevard Alpha. And then this other one are the Freckled Fawn. Those really cute, loopy, puffy alphas are some of my very favorites. You can see here I have multiples of them. Before I can make my final decision, I decide to start working on the background because that's going to dictate the placement of everything. I wanted to load up this layout with all of my favorite things, and one of those is stitching. And I'm going to replicate the hearts throughout the whole thing. In my silhouette, I cut out a heart that was very similar in the shape. That's a Studio Calico cut file, by the way. Oh, also the background paper is Studio Calico from 7 Papers. So I cut out this heart that was roughly the size I thought I would want behind my picture, and then I've been kind of figuring out where I want to place the rest of the heart elements because I'm going to stitch more of them. And here I am just poking the holes for the stitching. I try to speed up with this. If only it was this fast in real life, right? And I'm going to use a chain stitch. I have done chain stitching before. I have a layout that will pop up here. You can go see several different stitch types that I did on back last year. Here I am trying to decide where the next heart's going to be. I actually use some of the acrylic hearts as templates as well. My idea on placement was to have areas of background heart stitches where the other elements could kind of overlap, and also I could make clusters in intersections. That's what I usually like to do, some overlaps and intersections. For the stitched heart under the title, I measured and then went back to the Studio Calico cut file and resized to a heart that would encompass the title. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to where it's all stitched up now. I was a little bit rusty on the chain stitch, so this bit here when I start off, I kind of have a little bit of a struggle as I want to make sure that the little chain is just about the right size so you can see it, it's a loop. Also, it matters what kind of thread you use. So I'm using the Sulky 12-weight thread, which is about twice as thick as a normal thread. And then I doubled it up, so you know how you go around the needle, and then I had 2 lengths. So it was 4 strands of this, which is about the equivalent of 6 strands of embroidery floss. Here I've slowed down so you can see how the chain stitch happens. You go through a hole, and then you come back down the hole, you make a loop, and then you go to the next hole over and come back up through that loop. That's what you're seeing right here. And then that hole, you go back down. So it makes the next loop. You come back up from the next one over through the loop and grab it, and don't pull too hard so it doesn't close the loop up, which is what I just did right now. And you know, I had to go and just shift the things around a little bit to make the loop look even, and so you could see that it was a loop. I'm sorry you see me struggle here a little bit. Once I stopped recording, I just sat down to stitch on the couch. I got into the groove. It was going much, much smoother. I wish I had thought to come back and record some more stitching when it was just going smoothly. Don't be discouraged by my little fumbles here, guys. I really want to encourage you to try a chain stitch. It's a nice alternative to the back stitch. It's thicker, the cute little loops. It stands out a lot. I think it's becoming popular with some scrappers. And once you get into the groove of it It really is pretty easy to do. If you're interested in me showing you more of this, just let me know in the comments. I can make it a priority on some of my upcoming projects. Here's the result. You can see it's really cute with the little loops. I didn't have to worry so much about them being even because it all kind of evens out in your eye overall. I do wish I hadn't stitched under where the photo's going to be because that was sort of wasted time. But anyways, let's get back to the layout itself. Now I'm going to place all the acrylics back on, roughly where I think they should go. And I have wood veneer that also came from the January release. It's a set that's about the 2019 New Year, but I've just picked out a couple that weren't really New Year specific. Trying out the title, I realized that in order to fit the awesome where I want it to, the bigger sub part of the title isn't going to fit right. So I pull out some small tile stickers. I'll be trying those out in a second, but first I want to make sure that I shift everything to somewhat where I think the final placement's going to be. I brought in some label stickers, and these are from Felicity Jane. I believe all of them are Felicity Jane, because I'm going to go ahead and have spots for not the date, but the year, because I'm going to be on the team for the 2019 year, and also for my journaling. As I ponder the title a little bit, because it doesn't quite fit now with the stitching, I'm going to move on to building up some layers behind my photo. I had pulled a stamp thinking I would stamp in the background, but with the stitching it was going to be really hard to place a stamp. So I chose this vellum from Pretty Little Studio. It's called The Best Thing, and it has these little tiny words that say The Best Thing all over it. So that was a good alternative to stamping on the background. And you know, vellum is so cute. I love it. Once I got the vellum to fit around the photo about a 1/4 inch all the way around, I turned to another Pretty Little Studio product. This one's an acetate, and this one's called Achieve It. It's from the Dream Big collection. I was just in the mood for some transparency. I thought that it'd be nice if you can see the stitches underneath a little bit, although I am covering quite a bit of that big heart. I feel like there still needs to be more, so I went to my scraps and my 6x6 pads just to see what else I could add to the layers. You know, I really love when I see tons of layers behind photos and embellishments, but for some reason I struggle to do more than 2 or 3. So you'll see me here just audition a few things. First I looked for a wood tone that might match the wood veneer, but then I felt that if it was around the photo, it would detract from the actual wood veneer circles, which I'll have another one by the way. Then I tried the Felicity Jane. Here it's on the left-hand side, and I really like that because it's the same colorings and the same motif. I'm about to go off camera to take that branding strip off because I can really see how it looks behind there, and then I decided to cut some off. I don't need to cut the whole strip because I'm just going to have it poking from either side of the photo. It doesn't reach top to bottom, but that's good because you want layers that aren't all the same sizes. After I place that behind my photo, I bring in a few items that are coral, salmon color. They're similar, in my opinion, to the rose gold because the rose gold isn't pink. So I thought, well, maybe I can add just a smidge of this color to accent as well. But I did feel that when I was trying it out, it was going to detract from all the rose gold. I want the rose gold accents to be the star of this layout, and putting something behind the photo with that wasn't one of my monochromatic colors that I'm going for here behind there, which is the aquas and the whites. I felt that then the photo, it just wasn't going to balance out right. However, I did want to add little accents, so I have little bits from Felicity Jane, and I'm trying out like the today works really well because it's black and white, and everything behind the photo is going to be black and white and aqua. Of course, wood veneer is very neutral. I did pull out this little chipboard set from Studio Calico, but it's a bluer color rather than the aqua. I was kind of bummed because there was a little circle that says yes that I really wanted to use. So here I am going through my Felicity Jane stash. I thought maybe I could put a little banner up on where the photo is. but I wasn't feeling it. It was not going to fit that space very well there. I think I knew that by this point, but I kept insisting on trying a few little things, moving the little banner pieces around. If I could have found another black and white, I probably would have kept that banner there, but I couldn't. I found a yellow, and that's it. So the labels weren't going to work out either. I took it off, and I'm going back to that acetate piece to do the background. Now, I cut it, stupidly, I cut it, and then I regretted cutting the way I did. I cut it too short. I don't know what was going through my mind. Maybe I was thinking, oh, I can have it just partially coming down and that would add interest. I didn't like that immediately, so here I am deconstructing it a bit. I started with a couple of rows, thinking, well, maybe I can just use an element above and below. Here I am just trying that out, and I don't like it. I immediately think, why did I do that? Why didn't I just do the whole thing as the background? So here I am trying to splice it back together. That last row down on the transparency is cut off. I don't want to use that as the bottom row. So I'm just gonna rearrange it and put it all back together so it looks like one solid background. Oh, sorry, I guess I don't get to that part just yet. I decide that I want to solidify some of the rest of the design first, and I go looking for more wood veneer. This is that set with the 2019, which I guess I could have used, but I chose the Celebrate portion of that one to add on to the rest of them that I'd already chosen before. I'm trying to create a visual triangle with the wood veneer. I didn't want them too close together. And I wanted something on the bottom left corner of the layers because I needed something to ground them and also to unify it with the stitched background since all the elements are nestled and overlapping together. That area needed to do that as well. Because of the stitching sticking up so much, I needed to put some things on foam. First, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my date on the little label. That's the Felicity Jane roller stamp, and I really like how small it is. So I'm going to use that one several times just to fill in the space. I think that's very whimsical to do it that way. And, you know, some of them are the first generation stamp and some are the second generation stamp. Then prop it up on some foam. I'll be propping up a whole bunch of things and putting red line tape on all the acrylics. That's the best to use on acrylics because it's really strong. So I'm going to go fast forward because there's going to be a bunch of adding adhesive. And now we're back. Most of the stuff has adhesives. I believe Awesome doesn't because I'm still working on the title. So as I mentioned before, I pulled out some tile stickers. These are a nice typewriter font. Because I have a lot of black behind the photo, I went with a white text on black tile. I really wanted my title to be so freaking awesome, but because the stitching was there now, it didn't quite fit no matter what I did. So I edited it down to so awesome. That's okay. I'll probably be putting a photo in my project life and I can put so freaking awesome in that one. So let me think what's left. I got to put the wood veneer down, and I started that but then realized I needed to put some foam behind it. I used this piece of fun foam, and behind the photo I had also put some there. That way it raises it above the stitching. So I had to be selective of where the foam went so that it doesn't go on top of the stitching. That would defeat the purpose. Once I get that down, I look at my layout to see where are there any blank spots. And I bring in more Felicity Jane pieces. These are going to be chipboard pieces. You'll notice on the right hand side of the photo, it's pretty plain. I didn't want to put any wood veneer there because it would be too strong. I'm trying to do a diagonal line up and down. The confetti mix that had the smallest mirrored rose gold acrylics also came with some that are frosted pink and some white ones, and those are open. So I added those in some of the blank spaces. Somehow I managed to not videotape the last bit, which was to add splatters up and down the diagonal. I used an inky black from Studio Calico, Mr. Huey's, and a bronze from Tattered Angels. That's really old company. I don't know if y'all have some of that, but the bronze color looks just like a rose gold. The splatters further fill in the empty spots and tie the whole design together. And they're fun. Thank you everyone who's tuned in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe below. I will see you here next time.